Fine characters making, forged upon a mutual scare, a life of leadership and strength, of humanity's tolls they'll pay, of absence's extended length, two boys led by Deity's way.
Why August? What happened over the capitulos that tended toward the keeper choosing the most spiritual youth to begin their acolyte year in that month? Was it mere chance that there was some exceptionally spirited group of young men who coincidentally were grouped together in August? Or was this Deity's plan? Often in my reading of the records, when I focus on some singular question like this one, I am left wondering at the exact way these things happened. Does Deity look at the upcoming youth, decide that this group of young men are exceptional, then communicate with the keeper to place them into that specific class? Or did it happen by chance, once, and this created an idea that would then be followed blindly over the years, wherein the keeper would select those most in tune with Deity and deliberately group them together, hastening or delaying their acolyte studies to accomplish this goal? The only hint I have ever felt, toward at least determining when the practice began, was in the 10th capitulo, when young Antiochus and Tremaine, as the first set of twins, were in their acolyte year together. Every record from that time and that generation was, perhaps, the most eloquent and loquacious of any who came before or since, with myriad records existing that share the sentiments of Estolians. I digress, an impediment that comes with the passing of the years, like the water of the river beneath a swiftly traveling ship. Those in Tremaine's era were abundant in their descriptions of that time when both boys were acolytes in August. All who studied with them accounted that year as the most spiritual, the most rewarding, to ever buoy up the soul of a man. In particular, Feldrum's accounting of the faith that he and his peers gained was most exceptional. There was, in that time, a dearth of female children born to Estolia. These men were faced with the very real peril of living their lives alone, lonely, without a Kaylee to keep their souls safe. But they chose the pathway of faith, remaining rock solid in their sense that Deity would provide, and they were all rewarded. The very ship that brought the twins their Kayleys brought also a bride for each of that August class of acolytes. Sidolius Marcandro Zacharian, Capitulo 72.
Xavier felt the deepest peace and contentment settle over his heart and soul.
I have 2 questions.
He said,
Will I see the birth of my grandchildren?
You will not only see the birth of your grandchildren, you will see several of your great-grandchildren born. 9 or more children will call you grandfather. Yours will be an impressive dynasty.
if he would see his grandchildren born, then whatever price he would be asked to pay, it was not to yield up his life early.
When will Max and I share what we found with our father and uncle?
You and your brother will find the 7 secrets before you meet your respective Kayleys. During the time between your acolyte year and the time you take on the role of last resort and keeper, you will compile what you have learned. After your first child is born, if you feel it is the right course of action, you may share the 7 secrets with your father and uncle.
And the 8th secret?
He did not want to push her too far.
You will choose, Xavier, whether you wish to pay the heavy price for finding the 8th secret. On the eve of your 38th birthday, you must ask Deity if it's something you should do. You will not seek out the 8th secret prior to turning 38. If you choose to seek it out, you'll know from that time through the end of your long, fulfilling, and extraordinary life that it was worth it. That the price you'll pay will be quite small when held up against the alternative. But do not seek it without first communing with Deity.
He recalled how often his uncle had spoken of Deity, his voice patient and certain.
Deity is capable of a clarity of expression and soul-to-soul communication that you will find most extraordinary. You will also discover that sometimes Deity is obscure in the way that information is passed on. Always, Information is given in the way it must be received. If it is not clear, the confusion surrounding it is part of the necessary message, and unraveling the meaning is a part of the message itself. The essential point, Xavier, is that you must learn to accept every message from Deity as uniquely delivered in the way that will enable you to understand it best.
He glanced over at his brother, wondering at the things Deity had shared with him. He had another question, but when he turned back, she was gone.
What do we do now?
His brother said. A raucous flock of willow-wolves flew overhead. Their discordant honking drowned out the rest of Max's sentence and made it impossible to respond right away. Once distance muted their cries, Xavier said,
I believe Deity wishes us to find the 7 secrets, find them, record them, and when we are ready, perhaps once you become king, we can share what we discover with father and uncle. They will both enjoy the chance to study what we have learned once they are no longer king and keeper.
Max approached the mossy rock and ran his fingers delicately over the words inscribed in the rock.
Has it ever struck you as peculiar?
Max asked.
That you will take on all of your roles months before I finally become the king?
Xavier grinned at his brother.
Yes, brother. I imagine it was the same with other sets of twins who were king and keeper. The best part about it, according to Antiochus and Tremaine, was that the king does not have to wait for his brother to become keeper. Tremaine felt it was a critical thing to have his brother right away.
If Deity understands and knows us from before we are born, do you think that we were made twins because Deity knew we needed each other?
Max asked. Xavier thought about it a moment before saying,
I do not think so. Sometimes it is true. But for us, I'm sure that it was more about Mom and Dad. Deity did not wish to disappoint Mom too much, but could not give her more than one pregnancy, so she had 2 of us.
What do we do with the information before we share it with father and uncle?
I will make a full record of this. I will use the art lessons that Cousin Wilma taught me to faithfully record what I am seeing. I will also try to stay aware of what Deity wishes us to do and follow through on those promptings. Perhaps there will come the day when we can share with others who can more skillfully transcribe what was recorded in the stone.
Xavier grinned suddenly and said,
You must, however, promise to keep our explorations to ourselves. Deity has impressed me with the need to keep the 7 secrets secret until your first son is born, and then we will discuss how and when to share what we have learned. We shall have the grandest adventures discovering what is to be found in each location.
Max smiled at his brother, glancing one more time at the engraving in the side of the rock.
Deity alone knows why we are sent upon this mission, but I can feel how Deity pushes us to do this.
Xavier stepped back and winced at the pain in his leg.
But not this summer.
He wished his leg was not so slow to heal. The healer was clear that his healing rate was incredible, but that was in many ways only in comparison to other similar catastrophic injuries. He was going to walk normally and be able to do all he did before, but his leg would have a permanent weakness.
Next summer or the summer after,
Max said, good-natured about the delay.
We are more likely to be able to get permission for an adventure once we are 16.
Xavier bent over and rubbed his leg.
You do not mind?
He asked his brother.
No, Zed, I am okay waiting.
The 8th is his, and his alone, a future that before him spread, a persistent goal that he'll own, a choice deferred that he'll not dread.